Hey YouTube, Ducky here, and although I'd like to show you the man cave, everything behind the camera is a complete mess. But today I'm coming at you with a new tutorial for Aaron. Alright Aaron, now we're outside, and yes, I will be teaching you how to dig a hole. Now, you do have to be outside for this. Well, I guess strictly speaking you don't have to, but it's highly, highly recommended. And, as you might have noticed, I've changed my shirt. You don't have to do this, but I put on my Power Man shirt. No, wearing a Power Man shirt will not help you dig the hole better. Yep, sorry. Alright. So I started by digging a couple test holes. Actually, I started by going and getting my sunglasses because it's really bright out here. You might want to do this. You don't have to. However, I did dig a couple test holes, but I have a feeling you're just going to want to dig right in. See? Test holes. By the way, Aaron, there are many implements you can use to dig your hole. None of those are good choices. I recommend shovel. Just to avoid any confusion, Aaron, this is the ground, otherwise known as dirt, earth, soil, land, or even terra firma. Now that's a $2 word. Don't take this too personally. Now that we've chosen our target, terra firma, place the blade on her where you intend to dig your hole. And here's where the fun begins. Now that you have your target, what you're going to do, whilst balancing yourself with your less dominant foot, you're going to thrust the blade of the shovel. Should we have covered the parts of the shovel? I don't know. I'm going to assume you know that. Place the blade of the shovel where you intend to tear away from the earth. And using your dominant foot, which for average people is probably their right foot, you are going to push the blade, maybe with some kind of stomping motion, with your dominant foot into the earth, like so. Now what you do, using the shaft of the shovel as a lever, pull away and place the dirt somewhere where it's going to get out of your way. Now, Aaron, I don't want to frighten you, but it's going to take many, many repetitions of that previous action to dig your hole. Just stick with it. You can do it. I believe in you. Now that you've dug your hole, Aaron, you're probably wondering, whatever will I do with it? Well, you could always put something in there. Although you can put some of those things in the ground, never, ever treat your comics that way. Also, please don't put gasoline in the ground. That would be very dangerous and irresponsible. Well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to plant this beautiful Emperor 1 Japanese maple in the ground. Because it's a tree, and you put trees in the ground.
This is now day 2 on this particular project. You got a little late last night for proper filming, but this is what you get, Aaron, when you properly dig your hole and you put the right item in. Alright, for those of you that came here for a legitimate video on how to plant a Japanese maple, I wasn't doing this just to troll you people. This was all about my buddy Aaron and his inability to dig a hole. Now, I don't claim to be a professional at all, not even in the slightest. I have read about 40 different articles on how to do this, so I think I did a pretty good job, but there are already some things that I probably could have done better. A lot of people are going to see this and think, you're crazy, like why'd you put it there, why'd you do this, why'd you do that? Well, let me explain the things I do know. Japanese maples tend to prefer acidic soil. My soil here is heavy with clay, And they can apparently grow pretty well in clay. However, you do want to make sure to mix some sort of organic compost or soil in with your existing heavy clay soil. So I did that. You want to make sure, in general, to dig the hole only about as deep as the root ball itself, about twice as wide. I think that's more for ideal conditions. I dug mine out fairly wide. The reason for that was I wanted to make sure that there was enough drainage. That's apparently one of the few problems with this plant, is that it seems to be susceptible to root drowning, I guess. And so I dug mine out further, made sure to mix everything up really, really well. I even kind of dug in a direction slightly downhill in the hopes that that would increase drainage from the plant itself. I planted mine basically in full sun. Depending on the breed of Japanese maple, that could be a bad thing. For me, I got the Emperor 1 or Red Emperor, whichever you prefer, whichever is going to become the more official. Red Emperor definitely sounds cooler. And everything I've read has pretty much told me that the Red Emperor deals better with full sun. There's basically no place in my yard where I could place this where it's going to get partial shade in the afternoon. So it's kind of a fingers crossed thing a little bit. I'll probably build some sort of net-like structure to cast a bit of a shadow on it, get some shade on it during the midday. I live in Northern California. It does get pretty hot up here and it gets pretty sunny, so we'll see how it responds. But I've seen a lot of conflicting articles and videos and reports or whatever as far as its sun care needs. So I don't really know. So it's a little bit of an experiment, and we'll see. Like I said, I'll probably build some kind of structure to give it a little bit of shade during the morning. My ankles are getting tired. During the morning, it gets a little bit. That's not preferred. And then in the late afternoon, early evening, the house itself and this little overhang we have starts to cast a shadow on it. So I'm not too worried about that. So we'll see. From my understanding, it's around 6 to 8 hours of full sun is what it can tolerate. But some people say the the Red Emperor can pretty much take full sun. So we'll see. What else? You want to make sure to mulch around your tree. I used a mini bark. You don't want to use wood, but bark has lots of nutrients, so when this breaks down, it will feed the tree. Like wood chips and stuff like that will sort of sap a lot of the nutrients from the earth, from the soil, terra firma, if you will, and you don't really want that. You want to make sure it's watered, from my understanding, about once a week, but you want to make sure the land remains mostly moist, and the bark will help keep in a lot of that moisture. It'll also help keep the sun off the soil directly. We don't want that. Mine, because I get a little bit of wind here in Northern California, I did stake it for now in 2 spots, one down here more at the base of the trunk and a little bit up higher. I probably could have planted this plant pretty much at a 180 degree angle from what I did, because it's actually catching more of the wind coming this way because it's got a little bit of an arc. But I like the idea of this arc kind of going more towards the center of the yard. I don't know if that's going to remain. I'm not a professional. As far as pruning goes, you pretty much want to save pruning for fall and winter, to my understanding. It sounds like even late summer is okay. What you don't want to do is, sounds like maybe mostly spring and early summer. The tree is producing sap, and it's just not good for it, apparently. You're going to have to consult Mr. Google for a better explanation as to why. I don't know. I've just been told that, and I've read that. Let's see. Yeah, that's about all I know. I'm going to do some more research, and I might add to this video. I might not. Thanks for checking it out.
And now, a reading from Whitman. A child said, "What is the grass?" fetching it to me with full hands. How could I answer the child? I do not know what it is any more than he.
I guess it must be the flag of my disposition, out of the hopeful green stuff woven. Or I guess it is the handkerchief of the Lord, a scented gift and remembrancer, designedly dropped, bearing the owner's name some way in the corners, that we may see and remark, and say whose.